hello, checking. Are we live? Hello? Yeah, we're live. Hello, everybody. Hi, this is Breeze, and we're back for another interview with a wonderful artist and creative individual, and you'll get to meet him. And I'm just going to turn this down. I think it's a little bit too loud, but I'd like to welcome you to Breeze Online Gallery, a virtual online art gallery dedicated to bringing you art from all over the world into one virtual location, and you get to meet, discuss, talk to, and listen to the experiences of artists from all walks of life and from all types of disciplines, from digital artists to musicians to traditional art to fabric art, paper cutting. You'll meet a whole range of different artists here. And we've got a very special artist here with us today, and he goes by the name of Shenanigans1930. Now, don't let that name put you off. Yeah, he might get up to a few shenanigans, as we all do, but his artwork is fantastic, and he is also a Twitch streamer, and he also does a lot of gaming, and I've caught a lot of his streams, and his games are fantastic, and he's got a wonderful personality, and he comes across fantastic. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Shenanigans1930. Are you there, Shenanigans?
I am. Thank you so much, Breeze. I'm here. You got me? We good?
Yes.
All right, great. Yeah, thanks for having me on. I do get up to shenanigans from time to time, and a lot of that comes from the gaming side of things.
That's that's great. That's fantastic. And well, we want to thank you for joining us today. I don't know what is the time over there where you are. Can you tell us a little bit about your time right now?
Yeah, it's 3 in the afternoon right now.
3 in the afternoon. Wow.
Yeah, it's Saturday afternoon. Getting ready to work on some perler art.
Okay, fantastic. Oh, okay, perler art. Now this is what we've come here to look at. Now, perler art, for a lot of people who are not aware of, I certainly wasn't very clear about what perler art was. But how about we go into the exhibition? And Shenanigans, can you tell us about what perler art is?
Sure.
Okay, cool.
So I'm looking at the stream. It says it's live, but I haven't seen a lot of things here. I don't know what's going on there, but I do know what we're looking at here. If you're on my picture, I can't see anything on. Oh, there it is.
Okay. All right. For anyone who hasn't been here before, it's a virtual online exhibition, and there's a whole bunch of, I think, if for the uninitiated or anyone who hasn't been here before, let me just quickly, sorry, Shannon, just demonstrate what some of these moving parts are. When you look along the bottom here in the stream, you'll see there'll be a little row of artworks, and this is all the artwork that's in the exhibition. And if you can just click on the arrows, that'll take you through the entire catalog that's in the exhibition. And if you see here, if you click on it, right, click on this one, it'll take you actually to the artwork that we're going to be discussing today, and that's the artwork of Shenanigans. Now, I'll get rid of this catalog by double-clicking. Before we get to the artwork, also, if in the top left-hand corner, there's a menu, and if you click on these little icons, it tells you a little bit about each one. You can invite friends or family or anyone who you think might be interested by using any of these social media icons. click on them, and you can post. You can even email.
That's really impressive.
And
I
if
like
you
that.
go, yeah, it's amazing. And if you go kind of pull back a bit, now if you notice, there's like these silhouettes. Now these are people. Now you can click on that and you can hide them, and that'll just be for anyone who'd like to. And here that also tell you how to navigate. So what you can do is you can move around and you can go up and down, and you can adjust the height, and you also can kind of zoom around the exhibition. Okay, so I won't. But if you can also double click on the artwork, and it'll take you there. Okay, so what
That's
I'll do is
absolutely amazing. Yeah, the
I'll
virtual
adjust
gallery is amazing.
So we've got a virtual alley. Yeah, it's fantastic. And so we've got all this perler art. So tell us a little bit about perler art. What is this stuff? It looks fantastic. I've seen it before, but I didn't realize I never connected the two. Tell us a bit about this, Shenanigans.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Perler. So Perler is kind of a name brand. It'd be like saying Kleenex, right? The proper term, I suppose, would be fuse beads. They're plastic. They're plastic beads, and they have a kind of a low melting point, so that you can use a like a clothing iron to melt the beads together. They'll fuse together. So you'll arrange them in a pattern, and you put some wax paper down, or well, not wax paper, parchment paper. My mistake. Some parchment paper down, because you don't want the iron melting to the beads, obviously. And you iron over it, and there it is. After some time, they'll fuse together. It doesn't take very long to actually produce that fuse. Like part of the process, the learning process, that is knowing when to stop. You don't want to overdo it, because you don't want them to melt and get horrible.
Yeah. Is it?
There's a number of brands out there. Perler's one of the main ones here in the U.S. And there's Hama beads, which I'm pretty sure are a little more popular in the East.
Right.
And Nabby, which I'm Nabby, Nabbi, which I'm pretty sure are more popular in Europe.
Okay.
But you can, if you look online, if you want a certain kind, you can find things. And even like Walmart has their own brand. I think they call them Melty beads.
Melty beads. Oh, wow.
I think they call them Melty. I've never used them. I've actually heard that they're a little lower quality. But I mean, it's Walmart, so I'm not expecting, not expecting super duper quality there. But I've heard they're usable. I haven't looked into those yet.
These are amazing. Yeah. I mean, when you look at them, they look like little pixels, right? Like the first thing that came to my mind when I first saw them was like they look like little pixels, like pixelated art. It's really, really quite amazing that because when you look at the gaming culture, right, with the 8-bit, the pixel art, it kind of like ties in quite well. I mean, did you kind of stumble across this, or did you kind of deliberately think about, hey, that would be a really good idea to bring that into the? To tell us a bit about yourself, because I think it's a good. We need to learn more about you, because you're gaming. And what came first? Did your gaming come first, and you did the perler art, or did the perler art come first, and then it kind of progressed into gaming? And gaming, like, how does that all work?
Right. Okay. So that's let's untangle that. That's a long. It's a long question. So the perler art itself for me came later. Right. I've been gaming for a long time, but I've also been into art for a long time. Okay. Right. So let's go with the long answer. Right. Okay. So the long answer is art itself. I've loved art ever since I was able to pick up a crayon.
Wow.
Right. I think a lot of that comes back from when I was young. My grandmother, she was a pretty talented, not like an artist with showings or anything, but she was talented. And she would sit down and with scrap paper or a napkin or whatever and a pencil, and then sketch. And
Right.
well, what are you doing, Grandma? She says, well, I'm going to draw a picture of you.
Wow.
And she'd make kind of a quick sketch. It'd just be, maybe your head and shoulders, just, but it'd be like a 5-minute sketch, and it looked good. And it just blows my mind as a child. Just, wow, here I am. I'm on a picture.
Wow.
My grandma made a picture of me,
Was your grandmother, was she trained as an artist, or did it run in the family? No.
I know, not really. She's not trained as an artist. I know that it's something she just kind of learned. She picked up a lot of skills over her life. She's done a lot of things.
Yeah, amazing.
And art apparently was one of them. I'm not exactly sure where she picked that up, but she had an eye for it.
Did she encourage you to pursue art? Yes, or was it something that you kind of picked up later on?
No, I was very encouraged to pick up art through my family, as well as through school. Just the art classes in public school really spoke. Like, those were my favorite classes in school.
Yeah,
that said, like in elementary and a lot of schooling, like, I did all right in school. I did grade wise. I was mostly good at, except for algebra. I wasn't real good at algebra. Well, we won't talk about that. No. Yeah, math and I don't get along all the time. But everything, a lot of the other things, I did all right in school. But art really, really spoke to me. And so, as far as art goes, I've been drawing and sketching and painting my entire life. Like, that doesn't stop. The passion for me kind of changes from time to time.
Right.
Like, what drives me artistically, but the art itself is always there somewhere.
Wow.
Right. So when I was little, it would be, coloring and sketching and drawing, up until my teenage years, where that kind of faded a little bit. And then I got into music. I wanted to be in a rock band.
Wow.
Right. So I learned how to play guitar and to sing. And then in high school, a little bit later into high school, then I learned about digital art. I took a printing and graphics class through vocational training. And then that was really like Stone Age compared to what we have today digitally. Yeah. We were still using these machines. The high quality digital printer was almost the size of a car.
Wow. Yeah.
It was massive. It's something that would fit on a small desk now.
Wow.
But that's where I learned about Photoshop and things like that. That's digital amazing side of it. Yeah, just started. The very first early programs of digital art were there in that class, and so I started to learn about that, and then the gaming for me has also been very far back.
Tell us about that.
Right, so that starts. Gosh, that starts back when I was, again, very young. The Atari 2600. My folks they bring home a box from probably a garage sale. It was like a large cardboard box, and inside
with all the games in them.
Right, there was probably like a dozen or 2 dozen cartridges there, and there's Pac-Man and Combat and Warlords and Defender and all those like classic games. And it wasn't too long after that. A few years later, we got the Nintendo, the NES.
Right.
And that's where things took off. You had Mario, and things really just kind of, and that was huge for me. Like, I don't, the art in that, like, I thought was really cool. And on your screen you have this little character that's running around, and you can pick up things and stomp on people and all that. Like, as a gamer, I loved it. As an artist, I loved it. Right? Like, it was like controlling your own cartoon character.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
So the two came, the passion for gaming, and because it seems like the art was a very natural thing for you to kind of progress into your school. the subjects, the electives that you took, and then into
Right.
like a profession. It kind of like it was like a natural kind of growth that it kind of it steered into that. But whereas the gaming side, like, did you was it just by chance that because I mean most kids they don't always all get a gaming console or something. They might get a football or a
Hmm.
basketball or something. But to get a gaming console or something, and then for that chance happening to then
Hmm.
become, an intricate part of your personality or your life or development, to then go forward and into develop, getting this game and that game and this following this franchise and the characters and then how they developed over the years, or picking up this comic book and that one because it relates to something. You know, it's a little bit more, if you know what I mean, like not a chance thing, but it's a fortuitous thing that happened that kind of
Oh,
then kind of pushes you into a
oh,
different direction, right?
sure, sure. A lot of things really fell into place in strange ways.
Right,
Like
right,
almost those like the idea of like, well, that can't be by chance, almost, right? Like fate has brought us here.
right.
Uh, and that is kind of the combination of this natural love of art of any kind,
Mm,
uh, and like I said, visual, audio, and now digital, and as well as just the generation, I guess, that I grew up
right.
where I learned. Sorry, the pixelated games. For some reason, pixel art speaks to me now even more than it did then.
Wow. Yeah.
Which, and I think a lot of that has to do with nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and,
Mm,
and this is the generation that I grew up in, and it reminds me of my childhood.
yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
that's a very big part of it. But there's games today that are going back to that style on purpose. They want to recall that particular feeling of nostalgia or that look, and it's become popular. Look at Minecraft. It's not a heavy graphically realistic game by any means. It's
Mm,
blocky,
yeah.
right? So anyway, I guess to kind of bring in the perler aspect of it, which is
Mm,
what we haven't really touched on yet.
mm,
There's an interesting story that goes with
mm-hmm,
this.
mm-hmm.
How the fuse beads came into it.
Right, right.
Right. So I've been doing video games, even tabletop gaming. That's a long story, but
Mm-hmm.
gaming,
Yeah.
tons of gaming throughout my life. And at one point, several years ago,
Uh-huh.
I was getting stress headaches. I didn't really know what they were. They were stress related right away,
Oh,
but I was getting continual, constant headaches, almost migraine like.
oh.
And I didn't know really what I was supposed to do about it. Someone mentioned that it might be stress related, and to try to look for things that would relax me.
Okay. Oh,
And I didn't want to just rest and sleep,
all right.
right? Because I'm a person that wants to do things.
Mm, mm,
I want to be productive
mm.
all the time, right? Like there's just this drive to want to work on things.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
disappointed. I'm disappointed when I realize I don't have enough time to go work on another project.
Mm,
Right? I'm like, oh, I don't have time to do that today.
yeah,
I
yeah.
that bothers me. So because I always want to do something,
Mm,
and so what happened was I wanted to be up and awake and doing something instead of resting,
all right.
and I found an online game
Wow.
that was a picture puzzle game. It had this very relaxing background music,
Okay.
and I played it for a while and really enjoyed it. It was it would make when you got done with the puzzle, it would make kind of a little pixel art picture,
Oh, nice.
like a flower pot or what
Okay.
have you.
Is it still there?
And
Can you still
it's
play
it,
it?
it is still available.
Oh,
It's
wow.
called Picma.
Pigma.
Picma. I found it through Congregate,
Okay.
KON Congregate. I found it through that, but I'm sure it's available other places. And what they had in the game was a way for you to submit your own puzzles.
Oh, nice.
And I originally thought, well, oh, wouldn't it be cool? I could do some old video game characters and submit those just for fun.
Great.
And so I started looking. I brought up the the search and started looking through images to find something that I'd want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And as I did that, I decided, I'll do maybe like a Mega Man character. And I happened upon a picture of someone that had all these Mega Man bosses done out of some kind of plastic beads.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, those look great. What is that?
Mm.
And so I started looking into it and found out about the fuse beads and perler and nabby and hama and all this stuff. And that was pretty much the catalyst. If I wouldn't have had headaches, I probably wouldn't have known about this.
Wow.
And the great part is that while I was relaxed through the video game, the Pikma, I found the music and just the puzzle work. It's not timed or anything, so you don't feel rushed. So you take your time and you just relax and enjoy it. You forget about everything. It's a bit of an escape. You just sit down and relax. The same thing is also kind of true when it comes to doing the pixel art on the table with the beads. You turn on some music and you start your work, and I just get entrenched in the work, and next thing I know, hours have gone by.
That's amazing.
And no headaches. That's that's another great part.
Do you still get headaches today?
From time to time, and when things get really hectic, yeah.
So what did you see anyone about, like, what did the doctor say anything, or like is it life threatening, or what's the deal with the headaches?
The truth of that is I don't really have any medical insurance, and things aren't so great here when you don't have medical insurance in the States. Yeah. So I've never seen anyone about it. I assume that it is only stress related because it seems to come around when there is a lot of stress.
Oh, right.
So I'm going to just hope that that's all it is.
But everything's kind of
for now.
Yeah. Okay. Just subsides.
But no things. Yeah. That's calmed down quite a bit. Really, since I started into this kind of art, the headaches have really kind of, for the most part, they've gone. I was at a point for a while where they were daily headaches, and you just learn to live with it. You just continue.
Well, that's amazing.
And now it's only when it's really hectic, things are going very quick, I've got a lot of stuff going on, then maybe I'll get a headache here and there. It's a little more natural, a little more normal. Well, as far as that kind of schedule.
Well, that goes to like prove a lot of what I believe about art as being like a therapeutic as quality to a person's life. It could be knitting or drawing or whatever it is that they do, that kind of takes their mind into a different place and kind of soothes them.
I absolutely agree. I really and to bring that back around, gaming in a lot of ways does a lot of the same.
Yes.
There's something about keeping the mind and part of the body busy. Like you may not be fully active, and there's nothing wrong with exercise. I fully agree that you should be doing that. But if at least your hands and your mind are busy,
that's true.
Involved in something, there's a magic to it. I don't know what a therapeutic feature to it, quality.
Now, as I was looking up here at your perler collection, now how many of these have you made? This is just a small sample here, but how many have you made in your lifetime? Like, how many would you?
Right.
Yes.
So it's only been I've only been into this for a few years, 3 or 4 years tops.
Right.
But I mean, total pieces is definitely past 100.
Wow.
I couldn't tell you at this point how.
Now
how many exactly.
They differ in size. Like, what is the smallest one, and how long would that take you? Like, on average, how long would it take you to do a piece like the Superman? We see the Superman piece here. How long would it
Sure.
take you to do that? And what's the smallest piece and what's the largest? Like, can you give us an idea?
Yeah. So as far as small goes, I think some of the smallest pieces I've done, and so there's two sizes of beads.
Right.
I've just
Okay.
recently, within the last year, as of last summer, I was able to pick up what they call mini beads.
Mini
So
beads.
the original size beads are, I'm trying to think of the actual size. Let's say they're slightly smaller than the size of a pencil.
Okay.
Round.
Right.
The mini beads are half of that.
Right.
So they're very, very tiny. If you have a bucket of them or whatever, container of them, and you put your hand in those beads, it almost feels almost like sand. They're very small.
Wow, that's quite small.
They're very tiny, and I actually have to use a special set of tweezers to place the beads. That's almost like doing jewelry work.
They're
very tiny.
How can you work with it? I mean, it's something that's quite difficult to do. I could imagine a lot of people doing that.
You need good lighting. I can tell you that.
Good lighting. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I've tried working on using those beads during the night when the lighting is not as good, and some of the darker colors you can't even tell where your bead is. It sitting correctly? Is it crooked? You can't even tell.
Okay.
I have to set it down. We'll work on this in the morning.
Wow.
I have a friend that he paints miniature models, and that was something that I was also into at one point. Painting miniature models for like tabletop modeling, gaming, and all that stuff.
Wow.
And he has a magnifying glass, it's on a vice kind of thing. It's so you can move it around, and it's almost like not a tripod, but it's on a stand, so you can hands free once you set it in place. I've had to use that before for some of the smaller work.
And what the larger beads?
Right.
What's the largest bead?
There is a larger bead still, and I'm not interested in that, but it's double the size of the normal bead. So the normal bead is again around about the size around as a pencil. There's a stage up that's twice that, and it's about the size around as maybe your finger and maybe even your thumb.
So can I ask why aren't you interested in the larger ones? Is it because they look too chunky? Is it?
They're too chunky. If I wanted to make anything really recognizable, it would have to be very minimalist look.
Okay.
Because otherwise, I'd have something absolutely massive.
Right.
Size-wise. So they're a little on the large side. I'm not really interested in those. I actually got into the regular sized beads because there was a larger variety as far as colors. And then I found that the mini lines have started. All the people that make those that produce those beads have made a number of. They've increased their variety in the small line.
Right.
And they're all roughly the same size, so they work out well.
Now, are they affordable? Like for someone who's interested in maybe starting up in this art medium, how would it be financially to start up? Does it cost a lot to do? Is a lot of
no, not really.
Like
it's actually very, very small. So I'm not a person of wealth by any means whatsoever. In fact, when it comes to things, so even though I stream video games and stuff like that, I focus on gaming on a budget, and a lot of times every Friday I'll do a game that is free.
Well, hey, that leads to something. Sorry to interrupt you.
Sure, no, go ahead.
That just reminds me Now let me just go into my OBS here and just like what have I done here? I've done something. Okay, here we go. Now this is your channel, right? Now
It
here
is, yes.
we've got. This is what you were talking about, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
The Friday free game feature.
Yeah, did that just last night, I bet.
You just did it. So yeah, so tell us, because we've
Sure.
got it up here on the stream, and we've got
so
tell us a little bit about this free game feature.
So this is something that started. It was one of the first streams. In fact, it actually started as a YouTube series, and then when I got a better computer and I was able to stream live,
right,
I then turned it into a actual live stream. Every Friday, and it was an idea of, again, this like gaming on a budget idea, and showing that there's tons of things out there available,
right,
for someone that's they're playing on a budget, they're low income, whatever. Like, you can still enjoy this stuff. It's not always going to be the big budget game that's brand new, but you might still find enjoyment in something that's not getting as much attention. And that's something I really like a lot of times, is finding something a little more obscure.
Now I've got to ask you a question. Like, why does it matter? Why, like why? Because I know why it matters, and I guess for our listeners, like, why is it important that for you that you feature this, or that you tell people that you can game, without, if you're not a person of means, you still can get into this culture. You still can be part of this whole gaming industry or community. Why is that important?
It's important for a couple of reasons. As a player, as a user, whatever you want to, the end user, I guess. You can find that something like this is enjoyable on a budget. You don't have to spend $3,500 on a gaming rig or something like that. You don't even really need to spend for a console. I would suggest a modest PC, something that you get relatively cheap. And there's tons of stuff out there that anyone can kind of get into it without you don't have to go overboard. Of course, if you don't have the means to do so, it's the idea that more people can be included. It can be an inclusive community. And despite what you hear sometimes in some social circles, the gaming community is very friendly and very inclusive.
Right.
A lot more than it has a bad reputation right now, and it's unwarranted in a lot of cases.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
On the other side of that, and that's the developer side and the publisher side, mostly the developer, the gaming, the people that are making the games. You have your big games, your big AAA games that are out there, and they get all the press, and that's understandable. They're spending quite a lot on it, and they're on marketing and all that stuff. There's big budget games, and I get that, but there's a lot of people out there that are. It's a small group, maybe it's even one or two people, and they make a passion project, and to them that's the same as the artist. That's one person, or maybe they've decided to collaborate with another person, and they've got something that they want to express. And a lot of times you'll see that the indie games like that, very often they have some kind of a message, just like most artwork.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
And so and again, the difference though is that you're not going to hear about a lot of those games. They don't have the big budget and the ability to market and have television commercials and all that. And so, being able to to dig around and to find those, and there's been some games. Both so there's been a couple that are a little bit higher, not quite AAA, but there's some of the smaller developers. There's been games that have really touched me, and I've had to take a break. I'll stream the game live, and something will happen that will just it'll stop your heart, or
Wow.
not literally like a heart attack to this, but
I hope not. Yeah.
you'll
Yeah.
you'll pause and reflect, and I've cried
Wow.
because of some of the things that have happened in some of these games. They A lot of times they'll touch on some very deep subjects. Again, things that you don't normally see in some of the bigger the bigger
Yeah.
productions.
Powerful.
Yeah, very, very powerful. Yeah, to deal with some very difficult topics.
That's
And
amazing. Yeah.
yeah, and so again, this it's a new medium. In a lot of ways, games. We've I know this has been talked about before.
Mm.
Is where is gaming, is our games art, and I think in a lot of ways they are, and I would argue that even the old games were art, which is what I'm kind of showing through the beats.
Yeah. Yeah. Why not?
The old games are definitely art, and the new ones are most assuredly art. They
Coming
can
back,
be. They absolutely can.
talking about your beads and the work. When you, because like there's a couple of points that I want to kind of extract out of today's conversation.
Mhm.
Now you talked about a type of nostalgia
Sure.
that the beads um, call to mind, and I was thinking, for a lot of people like who are getting into the gaming industry or the community or like picking up the games, or do you find like and this is this is probably a different question, and we're probably moving into another area, and that's about how to sell artwork, because your artwork is for sale. It's you have a store, and you've got a website, and so it's for sale. Your artwork is for sale. You take commissions right now.
Yeah, that is true.
You're taking
That
commissions.
is true.
So
Right.
yeah, so like this kind of goes into that kind of area, like with the
Mhm.
nostalgia. What
Mhm.
kind of people buy perler art, or in particular, this type of art? What kind of people? What kind of market, or the demographic? Like, what are they like, and who do you find are buying or purchase or are interested, or the community that's around the perler art? Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I think I've thrown a whole bunch
Sure.
of ideas and questions, and the nostalgia. Because I'm thinking maybe it might be a different generation that who might be, or am I just wrong? So yeah, just help clarify some of those
So
my questions.
before I get to that,
Mm-hmm.
I did want to finish, if that's okay. You were asking
Oh
about
yeah.
the initial cost, kind of, to get into this,
Oh
and we
yes,
kind of
yes, yes.
diverged into the gaming side of
Oh
it.
yes.
But the initial investment. So for myself, my initial investment to get
Mm-hmm.
into perler art was
Mm-hmm.
actually very small. Obviously, I already had a clothes iron.
Oh,
You can
okay.
even use. I understand you can even use a low temperature oven. If you take
Wow.
your oven on a very low setting, but you're going to get a very different kind of melt. Just that's
Yeah.
It's not going to be.
Because the whole thing would
I would
melt, right?
Right, the whole thing would melt. I would suggest the iron,
Yeah.
but a clothes iron. Most people tend to have one around their house.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't, those are relatively inexpensive.
Okay.
And then some parchment paper again, a little bit, some a pair of tweezers usually come in handy.
Okay.
So these are all minor things most people
Yeah.
tend to
Most people
have.
already have them. They're
Right,
inexpensive
and
items.
then sure, inexpensive items, and then the beads themselves, and a board. So a lot of times, so you there's a number of peg boards that are in different configurations. You have kind of a
Wow.
grid,
Uh-huh.
yeah, which a lot of the work you see here is done on.
Okay.
But then there's other configurations, circles and hexagon shapes
Mm.
that stagger how the actual beads would be arranged.
Now I'm
And
looking at the Pac-Man. That's
mhm.
very impressive. I mean, you must have got a
Thank
lot
you.
of people, um,
That's an eye catcher. Yes.
yeah, yeah, it is. I
Uh,
mean, how would you make something like that? A lot of detail, a lot of thought went into
oh
that.
yes, yes. Every one of those pieces, that one, and then the character in the center are both very difficult,
Wow.
large pieces because,
Mm.
well, the Pac-Man, that Pac-Man piece there, it's not only just a mini arcade, it's also a mobile phone
Wow.
holder.
Wow.
You could slide the mobile phone in at the top, and it will. And there's a spot in the back, and a little notch in the
For
back that
charger.
for charging you can slip the cord through, and it's
Gosh.
a holder and charger. So it has a function as well as being pleasing to look at.
Wow, that's
And
amazing. Yeah.
it can be fun. You can have the screen in there. Maybe your screen. You can even put a screensaver up of, say, Pac-Man the game, and it would look like the actual arcade.
I
So
noticed
it's kind of
that
fun.
you've got the TARDIS.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So where does that come? So obviously you've kind of and you've got a Fortnite, and you've got
Fortnite, right?
Mario. You've
Right.
definitely, and then
Star
you've got the
Wars,
Star Wars
some
up
Star
there.
Wars up there. Sure.
Yeah. So where
And
do you
even
get
some
your ideas
even
from?
some more from a lot of places, and that kind of goes back to so real quick, the my very first purchase of beads was probably less than $60,
$60.
and it was as low as that, and it was a large can or a large jar. It was a
Uh-huh.
large jar with something 32, maybe how many thousand beads. I'm trying to remember how many, but it was thousands. I'm sorry.
Thousands.
Let me see. Let me see what this says. 22,000 beads.
Wow.
But they
That
were
is
all
a
mixed
lot.
up. They're all mixed together.
Oh, so you got to take all the colors out individually and
You would,
Mm.
yeah. Well, that's the offset of buying them cheaper is that they're not sorted.
yeah, and like would there be more of one specific color than another, and you'd have to buy them more of
Eventually, yeah, it's right. Eventually, I moved into buying separate colors individually.
Okay.
But my initial investment though was very small. It was less than $100. I think so far in total, as far as what I've bought in beads, is still relatively small.
Wow.
It's over 500 probably, but not a lot. But again, to get into it, you can start with less than 100.
Mm.
Which, if you consider quality paints and an easel and canvas
Right,
and
right. That's true.
like
Yeah.
your initial investment in any art, if you really want to get into it, would be sizable.
Okay.
It's not something you can just walk away with pocket change.
Now, just looking at the collection we have here,
Mhm.
I noticed the dove. I noticed also there's a bit of the Christian
Oh, sure.
the symbols, the crucifix. That's the one.
Mhm.
Now, is this like, are they personal? Like a lot of these your own personal, or are they commissions? And what kind of
There's a
commissions do you take, and what kind of commissions are like what kind of subjects won't you touch or you will touch? Like, are there some types of
That's a good question.
stuff that you would do for someone, or someone had a request and you said, no, I don't do that, like not safe for work kind of perler? So,
Sure.
I don't know.
I've never come across anyone yet that has asked for anything that would somehow like morally or somehow upset me in any way.
Right.
But that said, like maybe it's just a case of no one's ever crossed. No one's never approached it.
Right.
I don't think from any. So personally, I'm kind of the opinion of live and let live for a lot of things.
Right.
And if someone has a religious background or they have a faith and they want to represent that, and they come to me and say, well, I want you to make this. That's if that conflicts with my own beliefs or doesn't, like, I don't think that really I don't think that's a major problem. Like,
Right.
I haven't gotten anything. I haven't got anything along the lines of something really, risque or
Right.
anything like that. But I don't know if I'd turn it down. I haven't had anyone come to me with anything like that yet.
Hmm.
I did have to turn a project down once, but it was only due to size.
Oh, so there's
The
so the size of the beads you wouldn't go any more than the ones that you mentioned.
Well, I'm not sure. So you cut out there. Are you still there?
Yes.
Okay. So you said I wouldn't go what now?
So the size of the beads, you didn't want to go larger than what they had in mind. So there is a size that you would like
It was right. So it ended up being really more of a financial barrier for him and myself than it was
Okay.
what they wanted was essentially a poster size. So
Wow.
we're talking, yeah, right. We're talking 2 by 3 feet, give or take.
Cool.
Yeah, a long poster, done out of using the miniature beads for a very detailed look. The uh, the project would have been many hundreds of dollars
Wow. Yeah.
just due to the overall size.
Wow.
The math on that was it was over 70,000 beads.
Wow.
And unfortunately, what really held it back for the project was the the shading of all things. There were some shades of red. Excuse me,
Right.
some shades of red, darker shades of red that are actually very difficult to get a hold of.
Ah.
The only way you can get them is in kind of a group pack with something like 15 other colors,
Okay.
and in a small amount, which means you're buying this large pack and you're not using all those other colors.
Can you color them? Is there any way of like painting them yourself, or like
You
talking to a manufacturer? Do
sure.
they? Yeah?
Yeah, I don't know anyone in the business, so you're kind of stuck with whatever shades you can find.
Right. Right.
And in a way, like, that's a limitation I'm willing to accept. It's kind of a challenge.
Mm.
And I don't know. I like doing things the hard way.
Yeah, but I like what you've done here with the shading, because you look at the dice, and one side you can see it's kind of a lighter pinkish, and on the other side it's a little bit darker.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, you really
Yeah.
do a great job of like just making a distinction between the light.
I'm particularly fond of, well, in a way, I really like how and I know that's a weird thing to say, that sometimes you impress yourself.
No, there's nothing wrong. I mean, yeah, when you do a great job and
Right.
you're capable, and you look at where
Right.
you've come from, yeah, you can be proud of it, I think.
How the sun and the shadow works on the crosses at the bottom,
Yes.
as well as the Captain America kind of
Shields.
3D lighting, like a lighting effect hitting the shields.
Mm,
Right.
very good, yeah.
When those are out on a table or something, you have them, set on an end table in a living room somewhere. Like, they look fantastic.
Oh, wow.
They
Yeah.
they really pop. And a lot that was, those projects were done. I'll take a decent amount of time designing things.
Mhm.
If it's a grid base, it's really easy because I can open up Photoshop or something
Right.
and work pixel by pixel.
Wow.
But if it's something that uses a different, like a staggered pattern,
Right. Freeform.
I really
like a
have
freeform, yeah.
sure or a different pattern than just your standard grid like you would with pixels. I really don't have a lot of options other than to sit at the table and work it out by hand.
Wow.
And that's fun though, because that part really just lets you dive in, and like I'll agonize over every little spot. Like, oh, does the light need to go? Do I need a lighter color? Do I need to bring this up a little more? How far can I bring this shade over to make this work? Do I need another color to blend in between to make this a reflection, look proper?
There's
And so there's a lot of just little tiny bits of trying to get every little spot, because it's such a small amount that you actually have to work with as far as the detail, right? So if I want something really detailed, the more detail I want, the bigger the overall image would be. So it's, and you can't, sometimes you're constrained. If I'm making a coaster, I don't want it to be the size of a plate.
This
right. So it's getting the right look and information in the small amount of size.
This Superman,
that's kind of the challenge.
The Superman perler, and the Mario, are they two separate parts together?
Sure, like the base? Sure. Those are right. Those are two parts, and what's going on there. I actually have the Mario one. I actually have one of the Mario's ones on my desk right now.
Wow.
He what happens there is the base has a hole, so I don't put beads in there. And so it looks like an unfinished pattern. And then where the piece connects into the base, those beads go in there. They become part of that piece instead.
Nice.
And then one inserts into the other, and it looks pretty much seamless. And then that led. So I saw someone do that before. That wasn't an original. That particular technique wasn't something I came up with.
Right.
But I saw someone do that, and then thought, well, if you can do that, then you can probably put pieces together almost like a puzzle.
Yeah.
And so then that led to more complicated pieces, like
is that
the
Pac-Man,
arcade.
The arcade. Did it come after the Superman one or before?
It did. No, it came much later. The arcade I made last fall for a craft fair show.
Okay.
To take out as a nice display piece, and it got lots of attention.
Amazing. So
the Pac-Man arcade piece is probably about a dozen pieces altogether.
Wow.
And they all snap together. It's
Now I'd like to just go into another question about how about your sales, the selling of your pieces. You talked about a craft show. Tell us, how did you get involved with the craft show, and how often, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? What's your view of craft shows, and do you think it's a good way for artists to get their work out there? What do you think?
I think for the local area, if you want to get into your local community as far as art, I think probably a craft fair, unless there's some other. It kind of depends on your location, I guess.
Okay.
If there's already a good art community, a strong art community in your area, then it's probably relatively easy for you to find other artists or even find fans of works, right, of local artists.
Okay.
But sometimes that's not a thing. It's not a thing where I'm at.
There's
not a big art community here, right? Go ahead. Yeah.
One of the questions that I wanted to ask is, like, what are the obstacles or difficulties that you have in your location, and how have you managed to overcome them?
Sure.
And
right. So in a way, that's where the craft fairs kind of help. So there's not a large art community here.
Okay.
I live in a small town in Ohio, so not necessarily farming community, but we live pretty close to farming community.
Right.
As you can imagine, there's not a high art scene. in the area. So finding art.
They have do they have llamas out there?
Llamas? No.
Yeah, llamas.
No, I don't. There might be someone. I think there is someone that might have llamas.
Because it reminds me of the Fortnite game. You know when they land on the farm and they find a llama and because you got the Fortnite perlers there. So I thought they might have a few llamas out there. You might catch them.
Well, llamas are pretty are fairly.
All right.
Mostly would be pigs and cattle. I think would be
all right.
Would be far more common. I knew someone that had bison.
Bison.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting because, well, I mean, the buffalo isn't around anymore, so that's kind of the closest relative.
Oh,
and so it was really I went to their farm when I was little and got to see bison.
Wow.
They're huge.
Have you eaten bison?
I have eaten bison.
What's it like? Is it tough?
Similar, not really. Seems very similar to ground beef. Very similar in taste to beef.
Oh wow! So you're in this farming region,
right?
And there's
not a lot of art.
Not a lot of art,
right?
And I can see, it must be pretty tough. So
there's not a lot of exhibitions out there. Yeah, craft shows tend to be locally the way to go.
Yeah,
and well, any kind of local market. So, and I haven't tried this yet, and I may this summer, and that is even flea markets.
Wow,
right? Okay. Any way to get, you want some way to be noticed. Right, you want people to notice your work. You might be able to set up a spot at a flea market or a craft fair. A craft fair, I think, is a little more correct in terms of art, because a flea market could literally be anything. They could be selling used car parts there for, but a craft fair is designed specifically for artistic endeavors and products, and again, this is more on the commercial side, but at the same time, I think an artist, as much as you're doing it for the art, if there is a commercial aspect, if someone wants to buy your work, there's probably, I mean, somewhere there, you're hoping that someone's interested.
Right.
Yes. You are doing it for yourself, but if someone else is interested, that makes it even better.
Yeah, for sure.
So it means other people get it. So that's so there's to me there's nothing wrong with a commercial aspect
to
the art, and and really a lot of these places, a lot of craft fairs are typically inexpensive to get a table, right? To get a place. Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask. Is it cheap? Is it affordable?
It is. One of
those,
yeah.
Okay. That's
I think it depends on the venue. I think if the venue is really large, it could be fairly expensive. And again, a flea market tends to ask for things like a vendor's license, at least here.
Oh, really?
So you'd have to have a vendor's license, and so you have to go to the state or whatever and get the license. And
is it a big deal for you? I mean, have you already got one of those?
I used to have a vendor's license for a business a long time ago, but I didn't keep that up.
Oh, you got to renew them.
So you have to renew them, every year. And so I think it's every year. It's been a while. It's been a while since I bought one of those.
Oh.
But I'm I'm not really interested necessarily in doing the that kind of scene, because it is kind of random. You don't know if someone's there looking for art. They may be there looking for who knows what at a flea market event. I think sticking to craft fairs is probably the way to go.
Right.
If you're art based, it's about art. It's about the designs and stuff. So I think that's probably a better way, and that's usually cheaper. You don't have to deal with all the hassles of buying a license and all that stuff.
That's true.
It's silly.
Now I have a list of questions here, and I'm just making my way through them as we go. And we got to a part when just like to think about achievements. Like when you look at what you've done with your perler, what's been your like? Maybe you haven't had the crowning achievement, but what has been your crowning achievement so far when you regarding your artwork and your perler? Like
Right. Well,
yeah, what's
it's
been your
been
major achievement?
it hasn't been that long. Again, I've only been at this particular type of art for a few years.
Yeah, yeah.
So for all maybe being on this interview is the big achievement so far.
Wow,
Not
that's
sure.
major. That's major.
Recognition
Wow,
wise, right? Like I'm not
wow.
certain yet, but I mean, I will
Oh, I'm
say this:
sure.
I've had a decent amount of success so far.
Mm,
And a lot of it goes along with the streaming.
right.
I'll I'll find that someone will come in, they'll watch the stream, and they'll say, "Well, what's that? What's that in the corner there?"
Wow.
And it'll be the slideshow of the gallery, some of the
Fantastic.
different things that I've done, and I'll get to explain that. It gives me that opportunity to tell them what it is
That is
and
awesome. So it's
what
the
it's
actual
about.
streaming. Streaming has been like a major thing.
The streaming itself has probably been the even though and to kind of come back on this, so most of my streaming, in fact all of my streaming so far,
Mm,
has been video game content, and
wow.
the only reason for that is due to finances. Right now I'm working on getting some major upgrades to my computer,
Wow,
and
great.
hopefully very soon some good cameras. I intend to actually do perler art streams.
Oh, that'll be fantastic.
Right, where yeah, exactly, where
That
I'll
would be
have a
fantastic.
camera. I want a camera, on directed down at the table so you can see what's being done.
Now,
And I'm not the first person to do that. There's actually a wide community on Twitch that does that. You can
wow.
actually find that it's in the categories. You can find a perler category.
Will you
There's a whole
be
community.
will you be like cross-platforming? Like putting your videos over to YouTube? Like will you have a YouTube channel? And tell us about, I guess we're jumping ahead, but can you tell us a little bit
Sure.
about the community and how you're linked them to other platforms and
Oh, right,
all that? Like
right.
how,
So
yeah, because
I
it's
do
very
have
interesting. Yeah.
I do have a YouTube channel, and it's funny that right. So I started, I guess, when it comes to online, just in general,
Uh,
have your social media accounts and all that. I started with a blog and
okay.
talking about gaming and art and different things. And eventually, as I had a better computer, was able to do more with it, I got into
Uh-huh.
doing YouTube videos,
Wow.
and from there and then even more, a better computer, more upgrades, I could then do live streaming, which brought me to Twitch. And at some point, just a couple of years ago, a friend of mine suggested the idea of maybe streaming to more than just Twitch,
Right.
because there's tons of platforms out there. There's literally dozens.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are a little more niche. In fact, there is a specific one that's just for art.
Right.
Um, don't quote me on it. I want to say it's Picarto, but I may be absolutely wrong. But there
Right.
are dozens, literally dozens of streaming platforms out there. And there's one specific for art.
Uh-huh.
That said, the Twitch art community is also really great.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that aside, I was suggested to maybe try other avenues, and since I already had the YouTube videos, it was a relatively easy thing to just go into streaming live to YouTube,
Right.
and then the streams can then become VODs just like they do on Twitch, but they're permanent. They'll stay there for the entirety.
Yeah, that's what I was
Um,
saying. That's what I was kind of
right?
moving toward. Like with
Sure.
Twitch, yeah, Twitch is they don't keep the videos on there for long, do they?
Right.
For like
Right.
for
A
someone
couple of
like
weeks. Right.
yeah. So so for anyone who's tuning in here for the first time and doesn't really know much about Twitch, uh, Twitch doesn't really hold on like um, they do hold videos they store videos like your streamed videos for a short time, and then after that it'll just get deleted. But on YouTube,
Sure, you can.
yeah, sorry,
You
YouTube.
can you can hold you can hold clips. There's clips. People can clip some of your work, and you can even save highlights on Twitch. But it's a bit of a time consuming process.
Oh, right,
You know, if it's not very important, then you probably won't keep it. You know, if it wasn't a very specific type of a stream or you know, some kind of a funny clip that someone found, then usually it's something that after a couple of weeks just gets forgotten and discarded. YouTube though, they'll catalog the whole thing because they upload. I mean, there's people uploading videos to YouTube, millions of videos. You know,
that's right.
I don't remember what the number is right now. I think I've heard something along the lines of, you know, several thousand plus upload. You know, who knows? Large number of videos being uploaded as we speak this very second.
That's true. That's true.
Right, it's all the time. So they have a lot of storage. They've got the means to do that. You have Twitch. They don't have that kind of storage. In addition, Mixer, another platform, so I stream on Mixer, Twitch, and YouTube.
And Smashcast? You got a Smashcast too?
I do have a Smashcast, but it's been inactive lately. There's been something wrong with the setup for that, and I'm not sure what's wrong with it yet.
I posted a whole bunch of links in the chat.
I see. Thank you.
And
yes, I mean, if they want to try Smashcast, they can. I haven't had a lot of success on Smashcast. The other platforms, though, have been huge. I've discovered that the Mixer community is very similar to Twitch in terms of being able to raid and host each other, and in fact, Mixer actually has a feature that is just now coming live to Twitch. Mixer has what they call co-streams that allow up to 4 streamers to participate at once, and you can see all 4 screens. You know, so anywhere between 2 and 4 streamers, you can see all their screens at the same time. The chat is all connected. So if you're in one chat, you can see everyone else's chat.
I thought Twitch already had that for a while.
They just rolled this out.
Just rolled it. Wow.
They're calling it squad streaming, I think. It's available to the partners right now. Eventually, it'll go down to the affiliates, and hopefully it comes down to everyone.
That's different from dual streaming. Dual streaming, because I've seen some...
Sure.
That's different. Is that Streamlabs? Streamlabs, is it?
Dual streaming.
Yeah.
What is dual streaming?
Like
what do they do there?
I think they have like 2... I don't know where I saw it. I saw someone's channel had like a screen, their screen and someone else's screen.
Different streamers on one page.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
There's a feature. There's a couple of websites where you can make that work. But as far as I know, it's not like an official Twitch thing.
Okay.
The chats are still separated. So if you if I was streaming right now and you are streaming right now, say we were doing that together, if someone typed in your chat, it wouldn't appear in mine.
Oh, really?
Right. So it has its limitations. Right. Mixer's already has that all in place, and Twitch is just now rolling that feature out.
Wow.
So it's back and forth as far as like Mixer's becoming more and more popular, and really the community there's pretty good. I gotta say they're doing a good job there. Twitch, I think Twitch is gonna have some competition,
and I think it's good.
Just being honest.
Yeah, I think it's. Good. I think it's great.
Competition is important. It really is. This is a topic I could probably go on about, but I won't.
Please do.
I could soapbox for hours, so it's not. But just the idea, there's the idea that any type of a monopoly on something isn't good for the end user, for the consumer,
that's true.
For the viewer, whatever.
Okay, so what do you think about Epic Games? What Epic Games?
That's a real good question. I'm not even sure where I sit.
We'll just leave that alone, but we can just give if you can give us like one word.
One word about Epic Games?
Yeah, about that debacle.
The debacle.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, that's a good word.
debacle is a good word. Yeah, it's nice to see that there's competition to Steam.
Hmm.
Steam has kind of been resting on its laurels for a while now,
Yeah.
and they've allowed a lot of stuff on the store pages that are. I mean, there's stories about things that have been removed due to public outcry because it's so. Yeah, topics I don't think we should
No, we won't.
approach.
No, we won't. No, not. It's probably
We'll,
not.
we'll leave it
Yeah.
we'll leave it
Yeah.
to your imagination, but they're
Yeah.
not good topics.
No. Yeah.
And
That's for
so,
another conversation. That's for another
yeah,
conversation. Yeah. Yeah.
right. That's for a different site entirely.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, there's some games out there that people have made. They put up on Steam, and Steam allows this to happen through their not. It's not even the green light anymore. It's the Steam Direct. Just if you give them $100, you can put up a game, and some games aren't even finished. There's been stories of games that or games heavy air quotes that didn't even have an executable file. So what are you getting out of that? Like, there's no product there. So
what are they doing? Yeah.
What are they doing?
What's the
and so what it
motivation?
means is Steam's quality control. I don't know if they have a QC department anymore.
Wow.
And so anyway, the point is they've been resting on their laurels for a long time, and competition needs to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And good old games. A lot of people, I bring this up, GOG, and they go, "What's that?" Right? That's another platform, and it's free of DRM, digital rights management. And it's another platform that you can get games on. Yeah. But a lot of people just don't know that it exists. It doesn't have that push that Epic is able to do now because of all their money they've earned from Fortnite.
And I guess that's why it's important to why knowledge and information and the distribution of information is important, because if you don't ever hear about other alternatives, then you just get stuck with what you think that's all there is. And it's good to have, like, imagine like being in an environment where you think that that's all that there is, and that's all that you're going to take, and that's all they're going to give you. And then you find out that just outside your door, there's a whole bunch of other alternatives, and they're even better. But they've kind of isolated you or put these blinders on so that you're kind of oblivious to your choices, or to the fact that there are other alternatives to what they're giving you, and that you deserve better than what they're. So I think it's like what comes back to what you're talking about, Mixer. Putting and people becoming aware of that Mixer. Like, I didn't know they had that feature, and a lot of people might not have heard of Mixer. Some people don't even know about streaming, and and they've never heard of Twitch. They've heard of YouTube, but now YouTube is coming into streaming, and they're doing gaming, and now as a result of that, the polarity is that people are being who are familiar with YouTube are now becoming familiar with the changes that YouTube is rolling out. As a consequence of that, it's introducing other people to a universe where Twitch is involved, where Mixer is in there, and it's just broadening the scope of knowledge or awareness. I guess awareness is a better word. It's broadening the awareness to these platforms that didn't exist because it was outside YouTube's jurisdiction. But now, when you see what Twitch is doing and the streaming and then YouTube and the gaming and everything, it's like, okay, we have to be part of this. Yeah, we need a part of this. Right? As a result of that, they're introducing their viewers to this new universe where Twitch is like, hello, we're part of the community and we're big. You know what I mean?
We were here first.
Yeah, exactly. We were here first, and our universe was here, and your universe was there. And we're colliding, and this is like, hopefully it's this happy union. But it is a kind of happy union in some ways, because you see people traversing over to YouTube with their Twitch VODs, and then they're coming back
Yeah.
and forward. It's amazing, bringing their
Right.
viewers over to Twitch. Like,
And I'm
sorry.
yeah. Well, I'm just talking about a happy gathering communion. That's kind of what I try to foster on my channel.
Great.
So it's a little difficult to see because it's a small window, but you'll see on the left hand side, you see the stream is up. Left hand side, you'll see a box there with some text there. That's the chats of all three of the different streams together.
Okay.
Right. And so what that means is that someone that is on YouTube, I'm streaming to all three sites at the exact same time. And if someone is on YouTube and they say hello, someone on Twitch will see that message and they can respond to that person. And so it doesn't matter what platform they're on. They can be on Mixer, they can be on YouTube, they can be on Twitch, but they can all talk to each other and talk to me. Right. And again, and me talk to them. And it's a community that extends past the boundaries of the platform. It doesn't. I don't like to play favorites when it comes to the platforms.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like redundant. Well, it's kind of like you don't really have to. It's not about favorites because
Sure.
everyone's different. Everyone comes to the table with something different,
Right. They all offer different things.
Yeah, exactly.
YouTube offers the VOD service that lasts, indefinitely. Twitch offers really its sheer numbers in its just size of people using the site and recognition. Mixer offers the co-streaming and some of the other, some of the other features. Being able to throw GIFs, as in the animated images.
Yes.
Some people call them GIFs. They're wrong,
yes.
but no, I'm just, kidding.
We're saying
GIF versus
tomato,
GIF,
tomato.
Right. But no, but you can do that. That's a feature on Mixer. You can post that and it'll appear, for everyone to see. And, a lot of times someone will set up a quick animation that works with whatever happened on the stream. So it's like a funny joke or something.
Yeah, man, that's great.
And
that's interactive.
Yeah, there's all these different features that each site offers that the other one doesn't. And then on a technical aspect, some days Twitch is down or Mixer is down. And so, or maybe the connection is just better. I've had people that'll join on one site and they think, oh, of course I like YouTube. It's the best. I started there. And then they try Twitch because maybe YouTube's down that day. The stream's not working.
Wow.
And they come over and they go, wow, I really like Twitch better. But a lot of times it's kind of a day-to-day basis, like which one's running better for someone.
Yeah, that's true.
So even on that, just the aspect of, the networking availability, it's playing favorites is kind of a silly thing. And really, to me, it's about the creator.
That's right.
All the platforms are important, but without the creators, the platform means nothing. I mean, look at MySpace.
True. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If there's no one there, the platform it doesn't matter how good or bad the platform is. There's no one there. So.
Yeah. The funny thing about MySpace is that
Google Plus. There's another.
Is another one.
Right.
The funny thing about MySpace is just as I discovered it, everyone had left. Like, I just found MySpace and then I just abandoned it. It was like nothing was happening.
Just a little too late.
Yeah, I just missed it. I missed it. Yeah.
Right.
Let's look at a couple of other questions here.
Yeah.
Now, Shenanigans, we're going to look at change. Is there anything different? Like, is there anything? Oh, hang on. Before we answer that question,
okay, sure.
I had a point in my mind, and about the way that you had structured your streams and the way that and I thought that was genius. I just wanted to say that it was genius. Not only is it genius, I think it's something that a lot of creators I wouldn't say forced to face, but are kind of like having to accept the reality that there are certain platforms because of their policies, because of certain things. And I won't go into great detail, but I just wanted to just touch on what you were doing. I think is a great response, and maybe get a few comments about whether it was something you intended to do, something that necessitated you into doing, because you've really just kind of you've spread yourself so that for obvious reasons, more people are going to discover you, and also you're not beholden to one platform. And, like some people have been in the past, and when that platform has kind of gone down, like for example, when YouTube was doing the whole ad apocalypse, a lot of people jumped ship or they were pushed, and they ended up going to VidMe, and VidMe was kind of was like some kind of bastion. It was like what word am I? It was kind of held out to be the answer to this kind of to this whole YouTube
the savior to the adpocalypse.
The savior, yeah. And then what happened was that it disappeared, and everyone went back to YouTube and just had to accept the new terms of service. So, but here, when you've got all these different streaming platforms and all these different platforms that you can kind of be discovered on, it makes it a little bit more safer in some ways. Did you plan it that way? Is this kind of like a response to what you were seeing, or was it like a marketing strategy? Like, how did this all work out?
Right. So when that started, again, a friend of mine suggested to maybe look into it, and I actually argued back and forth. I guess I don't want to use the word argued, but we'll debated back and forth with them. That maybe it's not a great idea. Initially I didn't see the value in it.
Wow.
But he kind of brought up that, well, you can still extend, even if it's a couple more people, maybe those couple people, because I at the time I wanted to focus on Twitch, on the live streams, and he said, well, maybe you'll get a couple people even, and they'll be on this other platform, and they'll notice, hey, well, you're live on Twitch, maybe you can, for all you'll talk them into being on Twitch, and they'll go watch you there. And so I thought, well, what's the worst that could happen? If it doesn't work out, then I know it doesn't work, and then I just stop doing it. And I just go back to being on Twitch exclusively. So it really kind of started. Again, I went in kicking and screaming, dragging my heels. But but once I started it, I found out that there's a lot of pros and cons to this method. The official word people use for it is multi-streaming, because you're on multiple platforms at once. It's like a so there's a live stream, and then there's maybe a simulcast, like it's on here, and here. And that's what this is.
Okay. And sorry, before you continue, I just wanted to interrupt you just quickly and state for to all the viewers, everyone listening, that I think of all the other artists that are present in this exhibition, I think you, Shenanigans, I think you are the one that appears on the most streaming platforms. I think you are more diversified in that way. I think primarily the majority are on Twitch. Some might be on YouTube and other places, but I think comparatively you appeared on more streaming platforms than anyone else in this exhibition. So I just want to put it out there because I think you would be you provide a more not a more valuable, but your perspective holds a lot of weight because you appear. So I just want to let everyone know that you're.
Are you calling me fat? No. I'm just
no, am I? Oh, sorry. I don't mean to. No. Just how am I going to rephrase this? Just you have a lot of experience,
kind of a broader, broader perspective on the technical side.
And you're kind of like an authority on there. So just let people know that you know what you're talking about.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I've been doing multi-streaming for a couple of years. Just a year or so before that is when I started the perler art. So again, relatively new.
Wow. Yeah.
But you learn quickly when it comes to the streaming side. There's not a lot to learn, but it's important that you learn it.
Right. That's true. That's true.
And a lot of the sites, each platform kind of has its own set of rules on what's acceptable and what's not. I find that a lot of times, and this is a difficulty, you've heard of the adpocalypse on YouTube and all that. One of the big ones is music within gaming.
Right.
So a game has a song in an easy example would be like a rock band, right? So if you wanted to play Rock Band or Guitar Hero, good luck showing any of that footage on YouTube because the songs are all copyright.
Right.
Now that's an obvious one, and so if you want to stream to YouTube, you pretty much can't play those games. But then there's some that'll catch you by surprise. A little more sneaky, but still popular would be like your Grand Theft Auto games.
Oh yeah.
You get into a car, and all of a sudden the radio is on, and it is playing some big name band.
Wow.
And you better turn that radio off very quickly. In fact, I think there's an option in the game to turn it off completely, and you'd have to.
I guess this would be really insane when you think about what's happening in Europe with Article 13 and Article 11 with the copyright.
Oh, that
that
whole thing really, really kind of scares me as to what's going on with there. They say that it's not going to affect. Like the big one that a lot of people brought up was, copyrighted images. So if you pull a screenshot from a movie and put a meme on it, put some funny text on it, that's by definition a letter of the law of this new article that's been passed would be illegal. Illegal in terms of a DMCA, Digital Millennium Copyright, and it would be taken down, and it could even mean fines and litigation.
It would be the death of any channel, right? If
it would be not just channels; it'd be the death of a lot of the internet.
Wow.
I mean, how many forums can you go on without before you see a meme? Right, like
that's right.
Like every other post.
Yeah.
And it's really weird to think about. They're saying, but again, this is just what has been said. The letter of the law is what bothers me, because that's what says that's what's going to be judged over. Like they have to really decide. True. They're talking that things like memes and all that stuff won't be a problem, but that hasn't been officialized yet.
Yeah.
Right. It'll when we'll find out.
Yeah.
I'm worried that's what we're looking at.
Yeah.
Article 11 is lesser talked about, but it is some, as I understand, some form of a link tax, which imagine that you couldn't retweet a news article.
Yeah.
Right. That you find interesting without being charged a fee.
Yeah. That is like censorship in some ways.
It's a form of censorship censoring by the wallet.
Wow.
If I got to the point where I was being charged for every this is a great article, I want more people to read about this environmental issue or this problem with technology or invasive privacy or whatever. I want to post that article. I want to share it with people and let them know about it. But if I'm going to get charged for every article I put up, like I can't afford to do that over time. So no one wants, right? And they're not even sure who's getting charged. If I retweet a news article, do I pay for that? Does Twitter pay for that? Does the article, the person, the site that posts the article pay for that? The whole thing is that they haven't even defined what constitutes a link legally. It's very badly worded and just rife with abuse, or the ability to be abused. And that's scary. It's really scary.
Well, that's something that we can all look forward to in the future. And speaking of future, sorry, we're going to move forward, move ahead. Shenanigans, when we talk about your work, your perler work, artwork,
Sure.
what can we look at regarding the future? Like, what is it? What holds in store? Like, are there any interesting projects that you have? Are there anything that you want to do? Are there commissions coming up that excite you? Like, what really excites you right now? What can we look forward to regarding your artwork? And
Right. So I have so every month I'll work on a small piece to kind of like, even if things are slow,
uh-huh.
I'll put up something every month that, I make sure that I make something every month.
Great. That's
Just
good.
as a way to keep it doesn't have to be large. It can be something small, something simple.
Mhm.
Actually, have given you a preview. If you want to share that, you're more than welcome to,
Uh-huh.
of what I'll be making later today.
Oh
I'll be
yes.
sitting down
Oh right.
right after the stream. I'm gonna go straight to the table and start working on it. That's not what necessarily I'm excited about, but I'll talk about it. I'll talk about that. But something that really excites me right now. It involves gaming and it involves the art together, and that is that I'm a big fan of the Adventure Quest games.
Mm-hmm.
They go back as early as the 90s, I think, late 90s, with Flash games.
Okay.
And they're this kind of like a role playing game. So you have knights and wizards and dragons and zombies and all that, that high fantasy, but it's done with a cartoon art style, and it's full of jokes, like lots of pop culture references. It's just silly stuff, and I love the ability the ability to laugh for them to laugh at themselves and at pop culture and all that stuff. Right? They're able to just make light of everything. And it's all done in kind of a family friendly way, so you don't have to work like your children or your sister's kids or whatever. You can show that to them and not have to worry. So it's family friendly, but it's also hilarious. And if you like old references to things, it's got the gaming aspect, it's got the pop culture nostalgia. It wraps it all together. Anyway. They have just announced something. They just announced something that they're doing. They're doing a Kickstarter for an 8-bit version of their game.
Wow!
And it's actually coming out there. They will be releasing it on an NES cartridge.
Wow!
You can get a digital version of it, but you can actually get it on an actual cartridge. What I find amazing about it, and this is what excites me, is that there's a whole bunch of now 8-bit pixel art for these characters.
You're doing
that are in the game.
You're gonna do it.
And absolutely, I'm gonna go crazy with it. I'm gonna make a whole bunch of stuff. I'm gonna send some of it directly to them. I want them to see it. I'm a fan of everything they've done. I really enjoy the way they do things, their sense of community. There's the guy that runs the whole thing. Artix Entertainment. He's an interesting guy. Okay. There's a video you can find on YouTube about 10 minutes long. You just put in like Artix, ARTIX wedding. It's his wedding.
Okay.
He shows up in armor to his wedding. And there's a reason for that, because it takes place at like a big hotel room, like a meeting, like a conference room. And big spoilers. He has to fight off ninjas.
Okay.
There's Iron Man and Batman show up.
It's
absolutely hilarious. He's a really, like, he seems like probably the coolest guy in the world to hang out with, to work for. Imagine him as a boss, right?
Yeah.
He'd be amazing. So, I mean, I wouldn't mind throwing some perlers his way and see what he thinks of them. And I don't know.
I think
maybe that'd open an opportunity. I'd be happy. I couldn't have.
That's the way to do it.
Think I could have a better boss if I wanted a boss. That would be a good one.
Well, do let us know how you get on, because I think you'll slay it. I think you'll.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe something will come from that, but I'll try. I'll see what happens. I'm very excited for that.
That's exciting. That is great. Great.
It's funny. He's at the point. I saw a post recently that said So that wedding video is relatively old. He's got kids now, and they're old enough that they're playing video games. He went to the garage, dug out his old video game consoles, and started teaching them the old games. And as he did that, he said he fell down the retro rabbit hole, is the way he put it. And now he's got a newfound nostalgia for the old games and the pixel art. And I thought, man, it's like a match made in heaven.
That's fantastic. That is amazing. Shenanigans, let us know how you get on with that.
Oh, you know it. You absolutely know it.
That's awesome.
But yeah, art. Yeah, in terms of art, that's something I want to work on. There's some other stuff that I want to do. Just haven't. Time has been maybe my greatest enemy. In a way, right? If I had more time, it's weird. I say a lot of times that if there were only 6 more hours in every day, I would be happy. Just 6 instead of 24 hours. Can I just have 30?
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah. I need a few more. Then I'd be fine. But I say that I don't know if that's necessarily true.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean.
I always want just another another couple hours. Just give me a few more, and I can do even more. And so I don't know. It's anyway. The thing I want to the thing about it is I want to work on some larger projects. Something I'd really like to do, and it's going to be down the road. It's nothing that I'm going to even be able to even work on right now. I'd like to do some portraits.
Wow, that would be great. Yeah.
You know how I've seen some of your work. I've seen like the Ric Flair and and all those, they look fantastic. They look absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
I'd love to be able to do something like that with perlers.
Oh, I can imagine. I can imagine. I can imagine.
Love to try something like that, and that would be a relatively large piece. But it would. I think it would really pop. I think it'd look amazing.
Wow.
That's going to take some time. That's going to be way down the road, but that's something I want to get to eventually. Absolutely.
Yeah, I can really picture them.
Get into something other than just kind of your cartoon and your video games. Just start bringing we'll bring the real people into the pixels. Yeah. See what happens then.
I think you're slad because people, because it adds a different dimension. I think a lot of people would love to commission you to do a portrait of them in the perler style. That would be fantastic.
Sure.
Yeah. I think they would love it.
Yeah, it could be a whole new world for me.
And speaking of time, I have a question here, and it might I don't know how long you might think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Oh my. What advice would I give to my younger self?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Right. So that's a difficult question. Never give up, I guess, would be the very first one.
Fantastic. Yeah.
And with that, maybe it doesn't mean never give up on like a very specific thing, but never give up creating, never give up thinking about. There's never give up, but also like don't force yourself into something that you don't that you're not comfortable with, right? If you find that a medium, for example, I was so stuck on wanting to be a musician that I probably spent a little more time than I probably should have, trying to force writing songs, right? And I'm not a good songwriter. I've discovered this. I'm not a songwriter. Now I can sit down and do. I can draw you a picture. I can make these 3D projects with beads.
Mm-hmm.
I can sit down and probably I know that I can. I can sit down and write you a short story. of whatever, throw me a couple topics. I could, make a short story. I'm not a songwriter. Right? Like this I can't do. I'm not good at that. That doesn't work. But I think I spent a long time kind of working, trying to make it work. And I think now, so I mean, that sounds like conflicting advice. There's never give up, but then there's don't stick on something you're not comfortable with, or But I mean, I think there comes a point of know when to say when,
right,
as well.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Right.
I was thinking like there's a certain amount of time that you need to give to something to enable it to grow, and to enable
Sure.
it to, like, you got to give it a good crack. And I remember, okay, I don't want to tell the story because I'm getting into your time. Okay, maybe I tell the story. I remember,
Tell the short version.
I'll tell the short version. I'll tell the short version.
There you go.
I was working on like a driveway with a couple of friends, and it was quite a big driveway. We had we had to get rid of a whole bunch of cement, the driveway was like, there was pre-existing driveway there, huge slab of concrete, and we all had our massive tools like a sledgehammer and big bars, and we were trying to smash this huge chunk of concrete to just chip. And there was about 5 of us, and everyone had given up, and they said, "No, it can't be done." And I said to myself, "No, I can do it." And they told me no. They insisted it couldn't be done, and one by one they just put their tools down and just stood around, and they just started talking. And and then I just picked up a big iron bar. I looked at them and I said, "Look, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it. It's going to take me 5 minutes to do it." And they just looked at me and they said, "Oh, good luck." And I just banged away, and I remember the vibration going through my hands, and the metal rubbing against my skin as I was banging down on it hard, with every blow striking the cement slab, and moving strategically through the different parts. And then they was like, "You'll never do it, you never do it." And then I just started thinking to myself, you know what, they might be right.
Oh no. Right.
And then I said, "No, I'm right. I know I'm right." But I didn't know I was right until I finally hit it. I didn't know I was right until I finally hit it. And you wouldn't believe it, that entire slab broke off, and they all just dropped their jaws dropped, looking at me. And I looked at it, and I was so relieved, and I was happy. I was all these kind of different feelings. But what I'm trying to say is that you don't know when to give up on something until you know. And it could be a few years down the line. It could be that first strike of the cement when you hit it and you realize this thing's not going to budge. Or you think, I'm going to have to hit this maybe 50, 60, 70 times, maybe 100 times. I don't know how many times I've got to hit it, and how often and where. But I know that I've got to hit it so many times with such consistency that this thing is going to break. And it might take time, and I might be alone, and everyone might have gone to lunch, and I'm still stuck here doing it, and people might give up. But the point is that you keep on hitting it, but you've got to know when you've met your match. And there've been other slabs that I've just hit, and I've decided, you know what, it's not worth it. And my point is, the reason I'm telling the story, not so that I can get invited to your driveway. I'm not looking for invitation. So anyone out there, I'm not in the job business of breaking up anyone's driveway anymore. I'm just saying is that, just like what you're saying about knowing when to call it a day, when to call it
Sure.
quits. And sometimes you don't
Sure.
know because you don't know. And
Mhm.
for me, I didn't know until I didn't know, like, I knew that I just couldn't give up. I just knew that there's something in it. And I was
Right.
proven right when it happened. And I guess there were other, and it's not like, it was so weird, but it's like, I knew I was right. And I didn't know that until it happened, but I didn't know it was going to happen. I just knew that
Right.
if I kept going, it would happen, but I didn't know it would have, it would until it was so bizarre. I just like this faith that to do something, and I didn't know that it was going to happen. I just knew that that I had the faith in that it would
Right.
happen, and I knew that if I had to do my part, and the rest would happen. And when they all gave up, you know what I mean? It's weird.
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to you mentioned a faith, kind of a belief in yourself. I think
Right.
another way maybe to put it is the drive.
Yeah, you've got to have it.
When you've got the passion for it, the drive for it. I think that's one of those cases where someone says, "Well, if you put your mind to it,
Yeah.
anything can happen."
Yeah.
And I think that's what they're talking about, right? If you have that drive for it, it will work. And if you don't have that drive for it, or you lose that drive for it, then you have to start reconsidering the strategy.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Totally.
it's maybe that's the right way to put it is
Yeah.
know when you have the drive and when you don't, and and adjust accordingly.
Yeah, just according. Okay, so that's your advice, right? That's
Know when to
advice.
pick your battles.
Yeah, so that's your advice, right? That's your advice to your younger self?
Yeah, know when you have the drive and when you don't.
Nice. Okay. All right, cool. All right, a couple of other questions to kind of round off our interview.
Yeah, sure.
Shenanigans. What's your favorite color? What's your favorite food? Your favorite movie and music? Let's start with your color. What's your favorite color?
Let's go. Color. If you look at my channel, you'll probably know immediately. My avatar is blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, my background blue. I love blue. I think I started loving, and a short story to go along with that. My favorite kind of blue that I like to tell people. I know that there's an official name for it, but I like to call it Marge Simpson blue. It's the color of her hair.
Yeah,
it's something about. I grew up and was fascinated with the Simpsons, and for some reason I love that shade of blue.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's and I call it Marge Simpson.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I won't.
I'm trying to. I know there's an actual name for it. It's more of a starts with a T, not
teal?
turquoise.
Teal?
Not teal. Not
tilapia?
turquoise, not teal.
Tilapia?
Tilapia sounds like a fish.
It is. I don't know. I'm thinking of words that start with T.
Right, but it's it's kind of a bright blue, but it's not a light blue. Real little medium kind of shade.
Okay.
But yeah, I just affectionately call it Marge Simpson's hair.
Okay. All right. You've got me on a quest now to find out what that blue is called. All right. So, what's your favorite color?
Yeah, I'm sure I can look it up. Right. Oh, we covered that blue. Food.
Tilapia.
So. Tilapia. No. No, favorite food. Favorite food is there's a couple of good ones. Good spaghetti.
Oh.
Good spaghetti is wonderful. I haven't had a meatloaf in a long time. I'm really digging. I'd really want one of that. I don't know if that's my favorite, but every once in a while that sounds really good.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I haven't had one in a long time. And pizza. I don't think you can go wrong with pizza. Pizza is a wonderful invention.
Yep. Actually, they invented the wheel came from the pizza, right? So
yeah, right.
About it. I don't know. When you said invention, I thought about the wheel, and when they put the two together, they're the same. They got the round.
Right.
Okay,
yeah.
Pizza. Okay,
I'm not sure which one's more important, the wheel or the pizza.
Oh, definitely the pizza.
Right.
Yeah.
You put anything on a pizza.
Okay, we got the color, we got the food, we got the movie. We need the movie.
Movie. Okay, so I've for a long time now. There's a couple of movies that I really.
Okay.
But for a long time, ever since I've been young,
You have
Oh
one.
yeah, I have one. I have one that I've always stuck with, and that's Labyrinth.
Ooh.
David Bowie and
David
Jennifer
Bowie.
Connelly.
Jennifer
Yeah.
Connelly, yeah.
I had a quite a crush on her at a younger
Wow.
age. Yeah, and in fact, and I'll tell this story. And so for a while, so first Labyrinth as a movie,
Yep.
really loved that movie.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I was surprised. What what really just immediately kind of took me by surprise is the first scene that shows like the first kind of puppet type character.
Oh yeah.
And his very first, well, actually, that isn't the first one. The first one's like the little blue worm, but the second one is the dwarf Hoggle, and he's introduced to the scene. You see him from the back because he's urinating in a pond or a pool or something. I'm like, that Muppet's taking a whiz. I think that's kind of like the first thing I probably thought when I saw that. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Just blew my mind. Like, what's going on there?
Again.
It's a wonderful, very like Wizard of Oz type of story.
That's
a girl wishes her baby brother away because she wants things to herself. She wants to practice acting and all that, and her own thing. She wants to do her own thing, and so she wishes he just wouldn't be there. And so David Bowie, the Goblin King, comes to take him away.
Yes.
And say, well, that was your wish, and now she goes, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't have wished that. She has to go save him.
Wow.
I love that story. Absolutely love it.
Great
There's
movie.
a couple other, there are a couple other movies that stand out. I'll give you a couple of like two more. We'll just say top three.
Okay, top three.
So that one's obviously the first, but
Yep.
Labyrinth, top one. Other ones though, really good mentions. Big Trouble in Little China.
Ooh.
With Kurt Russell.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Amazing movie. Absolutely amazing. I don't know if I have to talk too much about that.
There's a scene. I remember there's a scene in that movie, and I think it kind of ties in with what we're talking about here about the gaming and the retro gaming. It's toward the end when you get those guys. They cross their little pinkies over and they start playing like they're playing an arcade game, right? Like the console.
They're using their thumbs, they're playing a Nintendo game and they're fighting each other with mystical lasers or something. The whole thing. The game is known. Speaking of gaming, that movie is a direct influence, and this was confirmed in an interview for Mortal Kombat. For characters from Mortal Kombat, you have a character there, Raiden and Shang Tsung.
Shang Tsung, yes.
Lo Pan is essentially Shang Tsung. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they influenced Mortal Kombat.
But they said Van Damme, Jean-Claude Van Damme was also supposed to be Johnny Cage, right?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it influences all over on that. But Big Trouble in Little China was one of the influences for that game, for that entire series.
I always wanted to get a T-shirt.
Oh man,
with Kurt Russell on the front.
Right?
Yeah, he was so cool, man. He was so cool.
Jack Burton.
Okay, great.
And then third movie. This one's going to be a little more obscure, but it was still relatively popular for a while. Big names were involved. Batteries Not Included.
Batteries Not Included. Who's in that?
Yeah, have you heard of that one?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Right. So there was some Spielberg influence on that. I'm not sure if he produced, but some Steven Spielberg influence on that. And it was there's a pretty big cast. The most notable is actually they were older when it was filmed. Long throughout history, Hume Cronin, Jessica Tandy.
Oh, Jessica Tandy. I know that name. I've heard of it.
Right. There's They were entertainers. They were entertainers for decades. And they married and they've done films together, throughout their lives and careers, and even as like an old couple. Well, they are an old couple in real life. Well, they were. They have since passed years ago. But wonderful film. The premise is a building, apartment building in New York that is to be bought out and bulldozed for some big corporation that wants to take the property.
Right.
Kind
Trump
of thing.
Tower. Is it a Trump Tower?
Sure. Right. Something like that. Some big business or something wants the property. But there's these tenants that still live there. The rest of the neighborhood is in ruin because there's literally rubble everywhere.
Yeah.
Because the other places have already been bought and destroyed.
Okay.
And so they live in almost what looks like it looks like it's been bombed, right? Like their neighborhood. But as an apartment complex, there's a diner in the bottom, and some people work at the diner, and all this. All these really charming characters, and there's a supernatural or sci-fi aspect to it. So what happens is these, for lack of a better word, aliens. I think they're from space.
Wow.
These aliens help them, but they're not. It's different than what you might expect. They're these little miniature
aliens.
discs. Yeah, they're like this. They're. I'm trying to think of a way to explain it. They're like, imagine like an alien spaceship, like a flying saucer, only like the size of, say, a hamburger.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
But that's the character. There's not. They never said that there was anyone piloting it. I think the ship itself is alive.
That's weird. That's such a strange.
Because they have eyes. Because there's lights at the front that show that they're a face, right?
Oh.
And it's almost like short circuit type of thing. It's like a living, like a robot. But there's several of these that come down and they help these tenants. They clean the place up and they get the diner, popular and all this stuff. And that's a very heartwarming story. Very
nice.
really wonderful film. Very underrated film. There's something in it for really anyone, any age. Yeah, it's a great film. These things must be somehow alive. And I'm gonna spoil a little bit here, but towards the end of the film, one of the ships, whatever you want to call them, they actually have baby ships.
What?
Yeah, they have baby ships.
Okay.
So like, there's a family of these little things now. Yeah, that are they're friends with the people in the complex now, and it's a great film, man, amazing film.
All right.
Superbly underrated.
Wow.
That was a favorite film amongst the family. We turn that on anytime.
I think that's just made my day.
There's an artist.
Huh?
There's an artist in the film. No. Speaking of art, one of the tenants is an artist, painter.
Oh, amazing!
So,
anybody we know?
I can't think of his name offhand. Well, it's an actor, but I mean his character is a painter.
Okay, cool.
I can't think of his name offhand. He hasn't been in too much stuff.
Okay.
But all the acting is top notch. Like, all the people are really they do a great job. All the roles are fantastic. Wonderful film.
That's amazing. That's fantastic.
Can't really recommend it. If I'm to recommend a film anyone watch, that's the one.
Okay. Batteries not included.
Above even Labyrinth. Go watch Batteries. That's the one.
Okay. Thank you very much, Shane. We know that you're a musician. You like music and stuff.
Right.
So what is your favorite music?
Oh man. So I think I'm going to get a little bit of flack for this because I have a guilty pleasure of 80s hair bands. Right? Like your Def Leppards and
Bon Jovi,
stuff like that. Right. I think Poison, all that stuff, Poison, right? Like I get a huge. I think I do tend to get a lot of flack for that because it's very mainstream type of music.
Okay, what's Snake in there?
Yeah, it's a guilty pleasure. I absolutely love it. It just has this. It's always about good times, right? It's always about enjoying life.
Yeah,
right. Whatever that, and that's. I guess maybe that's what it is. Just that positive, like, it's fun. Let's have fun. Let's enjoy things. That said, like, I like a lot of other stuff, and and growing up, like, it for me, the hair bands died out just as grunge became a thing, and so it was a little more dirty and somewhat depressing, and but I still liked it, right? Like there was that spoke to me in a different way. But I'm also a fan of like blues, B.B. King and Stevie Ray Vaughan, like great, that's wonderful stuff. My favorite music though, yeah, I'm gonna go with the '80s hair metal.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I like a lot of stuff. I mean, I even like old school Motown.
Great.
Right. So
Because they got a very eclectic
I like
range.
a range of stuff. Yeah, I like a range of stuff, but I'm gonna go ahead and wear that badge. Wear that badge proud of
proud.
of '80s hair metal.
Okay, all right. We'll forgive you because they got a lot of good music. A lot of good music came out of the '80s.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. We have a couple more questions to ask you, Shenanigans. Now, what is your favorite quote? Do you have a favorite quote?
Favorite quote? Yeah, I sure do. Favorite quote comes from Janis Joplin.
Oh, nice.
Which is, "Never compromise yourself. You're all you really got."
Wow.
Did you get that?
Yeah.
Never compromise yourself because you're all you've really got.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think that's an important. What I get out of that is, you're all you've really got. So at the end of the day, no one else gets to really decide who you are.
Right.
Except
so
you.
True. Yeah.
And in doing so, it's important to not compromise that. So it kind of goes along with, don't try to be something you're not. Don't force something that just isn't happening. And don't compromise your own values or integrity for publicity or finances or whatever. You have to be okay with what you're doing.
That's true.
You have to, compromising yourself, I think, just leads to more problems. So there it is. Never compromise yourself. You're all you've really got.
That's awesome. And with that, we'll wrap up our interview with Shenanigans and the creator of this fantastic collection here of perler art. And I think we've learned quite a lot about Shenanigans, and we've also learned quite a lot about his artwork and what it takes to, first of all, get involved in the art, and to make and create the art, and also to distribute, to promote, and to get that art out there so that people can discover it and learn more about it and be inspired by it. Because when I look at this is very inspiring.
I'm glad to hear that.
It's like those Fortnite ones. They look like emotes almost.
You've mentioned, you mentioned earlier, and I know we want to wrap this up, but you mentioned earlier that you were wondering like who's kind of the my target when it comes to audience,
right?
Because you were wondering about it being so nostalgic, but yeah, at the same time, Fortnite is obviously very new.
Yeah, that's right.
It's only a couple of years old. When I went to the craft fair, the Fortnite pieces were big with the kids.
Yeah,
they immediately saw that. Of course, their dad was looking at Pac-Man, but the dad wanted Pac-Man, but the kids, they were all about the Fortnite and the BB-8 and R2-D2. Well, R2-D2 is kind of timeless anymore.
Yeah, they look like eyeballs. Yeah, they look like eyeballs.
A little bit, yeah.
On the top.
Yeah, those are holiday ornaments. They come with ribbon and the whole deal. Like you hang them up.
This is fantastic.
But yeah, there you go. So I think you can get a variety of people. I've gotten some people, again, with more of a religious bend, and they wanted something that, inspired their faith. You got other people that, nostalgic for something. And you got people that, well, this is what they're doing right now. They enjoy this Fortnite, so they want Fortnite. So
fantastic. Amazing.
it can be a wider audience. Like I said, I'd like to go. If I go into portraits, like that's an entirely different audience.
I think you'll strike gold.
I think there's a lot of possibilities.
Oil,
a lot more
I think you should say.
possibilities than at
Strike
first.
gold.
Strike oil. Yeah, a lot more possibilities than you may first see.
That's so true. Shenanigans, I love what you've done here. Thank you very much for sharing your artwork with us, and thank you very much for allowing us to share your artwork in the exhibition. This exhibition will be running for a couple more weeks, I think, till the 20th.
Okay.
But just want to thank you, Shenanigans, for everything that you've done. Thank you very much for giving us your time today and coming in and sharing your wonderful art and your experiences, your stories, and where can we find you? Like for anyone who wants to like get hold of you, like to commission some work, or like if you have this for sale, like where can we find you online on the internet? Is there any links or anything else we can find you?
Oh, sure. Obviously, you can show up on the live streams.
Right.
That's an easy way if you want to see some stuff and talk. But if you really want to talk about something in particular, like commissions, oh my goodness, excuse me, that was horrible. If you really want to talk about commissions or something like that, or any like details of a project, I think Twitter's probably an easy way to get a hold of me.
Okay, Twitter.
Yeah, Shenanigans1930 over at Twitter. Real simple.
Okay.
Should maybe shorten that. Maybe Shenans19. In fact, it's at Shenans1930.
Okay.
That's how it. That's how you can at me.
Okay.
It's at Shenans1930 on Twitter. That's probably the easiest, quickest way to get a hold of me from there. I'm pretty big on Discord. If you have a Discord, you can always find me over on Discord. Don't know if I'll throw the number out there if someone's interested. I am Shenans number 5008. Or it's hashtag 5008.
Okay, so I've just posted your Twitter, and if I think a really good place is to visit your Twitch, because on your Twitch page you've got all your social media, you got your Mixer, your Smash, you got
you'll find the links. I've done my homework on that. All the links, you can find it underneath the channel in Twitch. You can find all that information on any of the platforms. I've made sure it's there. So if you find the live streams, any of them, they'll be there. If you find if you find Twitter, it'll all be around. Everything links to each other somewhere there. So that's the easiest way to get a hold of me.
Okay,
would
that's
be through
fantastic.
those.
Okay. Well, I guess we could leave it there. What I'll do is we'll sort out the video and upload it to YouTube, and I'll send you a link. Yeah, and you'll have a link. So I want to. We'll see how long it takes to upload it. Yeah.
Okay, I got one more thing if I could be so bold.
Sure. Go ahead.
Maybe plug.
The floor is yours. The floor is yours, mate.
Okay, great. I have. I'll go ahead and you've heard it here first, right, from on Breeze's channel. We'll make it I know you've had another exclusive with another artist. We'll go ahead and do it right now. So I am going to have at the second half of this month, so the last 2 weeks of this coming month, I'm working on what's called a patron push. You mentioned that being multi-stream and all that, there's different pros and cons. One of them is the inability to really partner with any one of those channels, any one of those platforms. So my answer to that is Patreon, which is a way for people to support me like every month. You can pledge a certain amount, and then there's rewards that come with that. It's this whole tiers and stuff. I've rolled out two higher tiers above what I already had. I am also doing a special promotion that's going to start the 14th. and it's going to last until the 28th. And with that is going to come a thank you card with a little perler version of my wonderful blue troll face.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you found the Patreon. That's wonderful. Yeah. As well as some other things. It's going to all end. It's going to culminate into a marathon stream with my patrons on a creative Minecraft server.
Wow.
And if you so much as pledge during those two during that time period, if you're already a patron, you already are locked in. But if you so much as even pledge during that time period, you're going to get, you're going to get the thank you card, the perler. You're going to get to be on the stream, as long as you want to be during that time, and you will extend the time of the marathon. In addition, so each pledge is going to extend the time of that marathon.
Wow. And
so it's going to start at 10 hours long, and it could go longer.
And do you have a date? A fixed date?
Yeah, the stream is going to be, as far as I know, it'll be the 27th. It might be the 28th.
28th.
But I'm aiming for the 27th. I'm kind of trying to see if the other patrons, my current patrons are okay for the 27th.
Okay.
But it'll be either the 27th or the 28th. The entire promotion is from the 14th. It starts next week.
Okay.
So I'm giving you all an advance notice today, ahead of everyone else. I'm not going to talk about the details anywhere else until next week when it begins.
Okay.
So you've heard it here first, a week early.
Fantastic. Okay. Okay, that's fantastic news, and thank you very much for sharing that. Shenanigans,
thanks.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Great.
Thank you. Yeah.
And so we got to look forward to that. That's going to be on the 27th or the 27th or
27th or the 28th. There'll be a marathon. Yeah, marathon stream with the patrons. Yeah.
Wow.
We'll be doing, and it'll be creative Minecraft. I'll be doing the pixel art, but in Minecraft.
Okay.
I'm no stranger to that either. I've done that before too. But
wow.
It'll be fun to see what that, and the other people, if they want to build whatever they want to build, like castles or whatever they want to do, it's open for any of the people that are patrons. They're free to do whatever they want. So
okay.
I should say that the goal of this is to actually have enough to be able to hit my milestone and open a Minecraft server permanently.
Wow.
For everyone. So
that would be great.
That's the intended goal.
Wow. Okay, there you have it.
Thanks, Breeze. Thank you so much for allowing me to plug shamelessly promote.
No, that's what we're here for. We're here for you, and we appreciate everything that you do. You do a lot for a lot of people, and it's great when we can all get together and kind of help each other out. Anyway, I've always loved the work that you do. I love your channel. I love your games. I love your personality. I love everything that you do, Shans. Please keep up the great work. You do a fantastic job of supporting people and in your community. And we just like to thank you. And I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of people that share the same sentiments as I do. And we just like to say thank you for the work that you do, for the community, for pulling people together, for lifting them up, for inspiring them, and for putting this wonderful, fabulous work that you make out here into the community. And I can't wait to see what you do with the portraits, with the people that you're going to reach out to with your work in terms of the arcade games and everything, and networking, and with the pledge, with the marathon coming up at the end of this month. It's going to be fantastic. And we just can't wait to see you just growing on other platforms and doing a whole bunch of stuff. So
I'm excited. Yeah. I'm really excited. This month is super busy for me.
It is super.
All this stuff that's being, I say, I'm doing this, and then, behind the scenes, it's like I got to come up with all these, things that are going to get posted to social media and all this stuff. There's a lot of behind the scenes work. It's keeping me really busy, but it's a great kind of busy. And by the way, when it comes to being great in the community and art, and like, you're no slouch yourself. Hands got to go to Breeze as well. Little round of applause for Breeze.
Thank you
for having the gallery, for inviting people on for the show. I really appreciate it, man.
Hey,
really,
that's no worries, man.
Same here. I love everything that you do too,
Oh,
man.
good, man.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for saying. And with that, guys, we'll wrap up our interview with Shenanigans. Please feel free to visit the exhibition, and the links are down in the panel there. And we'll sign out. But I'll just leave Shenanigans to have the final say. And with that, we'll leave. Shenanigans, do you want to say anything else?
Gosh, I think you've given me more than enough stage.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, no, we're good.
We're good?
I appreciate everything. Yeah, I appreciate everything I've done. Thanks for everybody coming out.
Okay, we love having you here, and please feel free to come back anytime. And with that, we'll call it a stream. We'd like to thank everyone that was here today, and we'll catch you on the next one. Shenanigans, it's been awesome. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks. Same here, man. I had a wonderful time.
Okay, take it easy, guys. See you soon. Bye.
Bye, guys.